What happens when you're no longer defined by the job or the title that you used to have? And the business that you've started, no one warned you about the struggles of being an entrepreneur or the new skills and mindset that you have to embrace. But while you're at it, you're still feeling sad and a little sorry for yourself. This is Krista Gun, and welcome back to another episode of Womenpreneur Asia, the podcast that celebrates Asian women entrepreneurs across Asia and tells the real stories behind their journeys. As always, this episode is sponsored by Redbox Studio. Today's guest is Thai entrepreneur Wahn Punnapha. She is a Bangkok-based mindset and leadership coach who's built her practice after a long corporate career. We talk about something many women entrepreneurs wrestle with: identity crisis and how to navigate them with grace and self-compassion. Wahn shares her personal turning points, from leaving a high-flying corporate track in the FMCG world to embracing a role that's about transformation of herself while she works to transform her clients. We explore practical steps you can take when the path isn't clear. If you're balancing family expectations with ambitious dreams, this episode offers real talk and actionable ideas. Stay with us and let's unpack how to turn your disruption and crisis into an opportunity for growth. Hi Wahn, welcome to Womenpreneur Asia.
Hello, Krista. It's so good to see you and to be here. Thank you for your invitation.
Today we are going to talk about something very personal, but also very much aligned with what most women probably are thinking of at some point in their lives. But before we get into that, could you just give us a brief overview of what you're doing right now, Wahn, and where you are at this moment?
Right now, I'm doing mindset coach, and my target market is women in leadership. And on the side, I'm also taking up freelance job for business development for brands as well.
And where are you based?
I'm based in Bangkok, Thailand. Although I travel from time to time, and my job right now also pretty much location independent. I can work from home, and my main location is still in Bangkok.
I know that you have worked with Fortune 500 companies. You have been in FMCG. You've done a lot of work in the corporate sector. And now you're on your own as a leadership coach. So take us through those moments when you were a corporate employee versus now as a coach and someone who's coaching and helping others.
Yeah, it's a very interesting journey. Actually, when I was in corporate, I consider myself that I'm pretty successful in corporate. I get promoted when I was at the young age. I got a team that they are all older than me and they are at the manager's level. And at that time, I thought I was successful. I can conquer anything in the world, right? And when I decided to leave the job to follow my passion, follow my heart, and setting up life coaching to be my full-time job, what I used to believe in have changed completely. I didn't know that being solopreneur, setting up business by myself, would be a different world. I have to change my mindset. I have to go out finding customer, learning about people, doing market research. When I was in corporate, I was in the function of business development. And at first, I thought I know everything about the business already. But when I'm doing business from ground zero, it was a completely different view. So yeah, it was an interesting journey. And especially, I was in corporate for such a long time, 15 years. I got a lot of friends in corporate where there is structure, there is system, but when I'm doing things by myself, there's no structure, there's no system. No one is telling me what to do today. I have to initiate every project by myself and complete every project by myself. And if I don't do it, no one gonna do it. Whereas in corporate, there is a team member who will poke me if I miss something. But working by myself, it's a completely new landscape that even until today, I'm still learning about it.
So you left corporate quite some time ago. And I think it's almost 10 years.
Actually, I just left corporate about 3 years. I've been doing coaching on the side with corporate job for about 8 years. I started doing coaching together when I'm still in full-time job, and I craft my skill and really reflecting whether am I still like want to do coaching as a full-time job, or would I be comfortable more to help big business grow their business. So it takes me a lot of time before I decide to go on into being solopreneur. So I actually leave the job about 3 years ago.
So it means that at the time when you were in corporate, you were slowly building up your clientele and you were slowly moving into entrepreneurship.
Because it's also a new skill. When I was in corporate, I was more in sales, in business development, selling product into supermarket. Whereas the coaching is about relationship with people, about soft skill development, personal development. So it's completely new. And I took the time to learn about new skill and understanding myself apart from building clients.
How different is it selling products versus building relationships in the business, right? Because those are completely different things. Because product, you can just put the product on the shelf in the supermarket or in a shop. But human relationships are a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it's definitely completely different in terms of the product itself, because when I sell physical product, there is the physical thing that you can touch that I can explain to people. But when it's come to coaching as a business, it means I'm selling the service of consultation and it's intangible. People cannot see how it look like. So that is a different way in selling, and it takes longer time to build trust with people too. And the things that I was naive about when I'm considering of leaving full-time job to do coaching is, at first when I was in corporate, I get clients through referrals, but when I leave the corporate, I really need to find my own client. And at first I thought it's gonna be easy. And when it's come to leaving my job and really need to find my client, what I didn't know is that there is steps, process that I also need to learn. I need to build marketing system that was different from marketing system that support reputable brand that I used to sell before. I need to learn about funnels as how to gain client as a coach as well. So that's take me almost a year to learn all of that system and understanding how to reach out for new customer, because before customer through referrals, and how to build trust online, how to build trust in networking events. I also need to put myself out there more, which I wasn't expect to do it this much before.
So that must have been quite a big difference, right? When you're in corporate, I believe that in corporate you have a structure, you have infrastructure. But when you're out there on your own, you have to build a structure and you have to build the infrastructure yourself. So what were the first maybe 1 to 3 steps that you took for yourself when you came out on your own as a coach?
At first, I believe in if I don't have skill, then I have to find someone who has skill to teach me. So I did enroll for a course of teaching people to be a coach. My first course, I really think it wasn't working really well. I invest a lot before to build a system, to build infrastructure, and the first 6 months that I enrolled for that course, it wasn't working. So I have to rethink if this is the direction that I still want to pursue, the investment that I have to put out there before I gain my customer. I still need to inject my own money, which is my first time doing this, comparing when I was in corporate and I don't have to inject my money, right? I only put my effort and then I get my paycheck back. So that's the step I took. I actually finding course and learning from coaches who build successful business. And in that journey, not every course is suitable for the business. I also realized that some of the course, the product itself hasn't been tested. The person that taught this course is too new, so their course isn't validated. And I saw many people in the course didn't get the result that the teacher claimed that we will get. So later on, I find different person that I learned from, and she has become my business coach for the past 1 to 2 years. And I learned different skill set. I changed the strategy of approaching client, approaching social media. I have to learn skill of copywriting, which I didn't learn before. I work in sales, so I mostly work with numbers, but not about explaining myself or working with language. Looking back now, I learned to also embrace the discomfort of making change in between as entrepreneur as well.
So that must have been quite a learning curve, I must say, right? Figuring out what you want and then going and finding someone to teach you. How is your marketing right now, since you've learned from all these different people and, of course, going out there and marketing yourself?
I really think that I learned some system, I learned about some processes, but at the end, I'm the one who still need to adapt to the market, because the person that I'm studying the course from, she's from the US. So before, I have to wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to talk to her. And I learned a good foundation from her on how to write good messaging, how to structure course, how to let people know about the product that I have, until upselling the high ticket courses. But at the end, I still need to adapt to my style, to adapt to my own time, to adapt to the actual target market in Thailand. And I have to learn that from putting myself out there in networking event, meeting real people, listening to what they really need, listening to how people want to be supported. And I wouldn't learn any of this before if I'm still in the corporate and didn't get out and meet real people. Because in corporate, in a well-structured system, they already feed me with like information, right? But now it's like I have to go out and reach out for information, and I need to work on my own ego as well. So I have to work on that ego to go back to my ground zero and trying to approach the business as a child again, that I know nothing about it. I know nothing about people, and I have to listen to them so I can serve them better. And it's not about me. It's about the transformation that people actually gonna get from working together with me. So that's the fine line in using social media and selling the service that is not a tangible product, is finding that balance of offering my strength as well as finding the synergy of what people actually want from as a transformation in their life.
I think that is hard, because I also come from a services background, and I share this with a lot of people, is that when you come from a services background, you're selling trust.
Yeah.
Because the person has to trust you, and if the person doesn't trust you, nothing happens. No matter how good your offer is, no matter how wonderful your product or your solution is, people just have to be able to say, hey, Wahn, I trust you. I trust that you will take care of me, whatever my problem or issue is. And that at the end of this 3 months together or 6 months together, we will have something that I can look at and say, I had a great result with this person. I'm so glad that you're very open about it, because it's very hard being in the services industry versus being in a product industry. Yeah. So now I want to ask you a little bit more about doing what you do, right? Basically, you've lived in the corporate environment and now you're a solopreneur. This also means that there's identity transition, identity crisis. So from your experience, and even from your experience as a coach, what's actually happening beneath the surface when someone says, I feel lost? Like, I don't have my identity intact right now. For instance, just say someone who says, I want to transition out of corporate and become an entrepreneur. So it's a different identity altogether. What would you say to that?
I actually always congratulate people when they are in identity crisis. I know it feels difficult and it's not easy, because when I've been through my own identity crisis 2 times in my life, the first time is when I get divorced. And that's when my world crumbled and my personal life is turned upside down. I'm getting divorced 10 years ago, which is not really a common concept back then for people in Thailand. So that's my first identity crisis. But because of that turning point, it led me to go out and research on personal development and reach out on my first coach. My second identity crisis is when I decided to leave corporate job. When I was in that job, I'm also pretty successful. I grow business 4 times during my 5 years journey with that company. And now I have to start from gaining my first client, right? So that's the second identity crisis. When I leave the corporate job, I actually spending time crying with myself for the whole year. And at first I didn't expect this, right? When I left that job and I decided to be solopreneur, at first I feel pumped. Oh my God, finally I'm getting the freedom that people are imagining about and I imagine about it. But when there is no structure to hold on to anymore, and the first few months I have no income basically because I'm actually spending to learn about the system. And at the same time, the concept about myself had changed. The success that I thought to myself had changed. And in that process, it brings up a lot of sadness that I'm leaving my old world behind. When people used to respect me in the corporate because of my position, but when I'm starting by being no one, I'm not gaining that respect anymore. So I spend my first 3 months, I pretty much cry with myself every day. But I do having boundaries with crying, meaning that I will be more conscious that, okay, this is the time that I'm processing the crisis, right? So I will feel that the sadness is coming, so I will set a time and be with it. And then during the day, I will set a time that I still learning about being a coach, learning from my coach, setting up system, and I will have time that I process those emotions. And that helps a lot. So if I were to tell anybody who are in the same journey, I would say embrace it. And you're going to feel really bad about yourself because your world is crumbling down. What you think was definition of success is not going to be the same anymore. And that's okay because the faster you embrace that journey, the faster you embrace all the feeling, actually the faster you're going to get through it. And I can assure you that you're going to feel better later. Your discomfort is not going to last, but it's going to last if you are not feeling it. So that's the part that I want to tell everybody. And I want to congratulate everyone if you are going through the crisis, because that means something is changing and it's going to change for the better.
I love the term that I think either you came up with it, loving your negative emotions.
Yeah, I am a big fan of looking at the experience as the experience, gain wisdom, and the feeling is just the feeling, and it's not going to last forever. So the more you love every part of yourself, the easier you're gonna cruise through the journey.
In your case, how long was it until you finally decided, I'm not going to cry anymore? I'm going to get into my entrepreneurship role and embrace fully good or bad or ups and downs. When did that happen for you?
Yeah, if I can tell to myself, I would tell after my first week that I just feel so tired of crying 2 hours every day on the first 3 months. But that's not how it works. Actually, that's what I learned as well, that I have to let go of control, even control of my emotion. And I learned to embrace that. So if I feel something has to come out, I better ride on that. And the process lasts for a year. And although I hope that it lasts for a week, but that's not what happened. So I'm not in control of what is coming up. What I can do is I can allow the process to happen and support the process by making space, or sometimes I reach out for support with my loved one who understand the journey and ask for help and ask for comfort words or comfort time together. I think the key thing is to learn to let go of control of the process.
That's good. That's a good one. You really get into it and embrace it and not just avoid it, because I think sometimes people just don't want to deal with it. And we just don't want to do something or anything about it. But in your case, what was one practical way that you started to rebuild a more authentic version of yourself after that crisis of that, what supposedly to be 1 week, but it became a year?
The key thing that I want to say, the first one is having goal and clear vision. That helps a lot. It doesn't mean that it's going to be fixed and it's going to be like that forever, but at least come up with some goal or vision, because during the hard time, that's the anchor that you want to get. Because when you are lost or transitioning your identity, you also want to see where you are heading, so you have motivation to keep going. And the second one, I think people talk about this a lot, is knowing your why. And I would like to break down into the first two things, that your why for other people. And I know that when people are going through identity crisis, sometimes they are pulled to make impact to other people in some way, somehow, right? Some people go for more sustainable project. Some people like me go for transforming people's lives. So knowing your why, the impact of your work to other people, and what's more important is the why for yourself. In my case, I would tell myself, when I don't have customer, then I don't have chance to make impact for other people, right? So I have to have why for myself, that why do I do coaching? What do I like about doing coaching? Is I still love personal development. I love to learn about myself. And the third thing is knowing your little step, what you are going to do tomorrow. That's also help to keep taking action. That's going to help you feel better as well. So it's rewire your brain to have a little reward along the way. And the fourth thing, this is so important after being mindset coach, learning about emotional trauma, is you need to have support system. The people that would be supporting you emotionally, because that's the biggest trauma that we all have right now, is we lost connection with one another. Reach out to a few people and tell them that you need encouragement right now, and tell them exactly what you want in that moment. Don't just go to people and cry, right? Sometimes I do message my friend, I will cry with you. Can you just listen to me? So that's actually make the process easier when you are clear with yourself on what you want people to support you on. Or sometimes if I need validation, I will actually tell people upfront that I don't feel confident right now. Can you reassure me on what I'm good at? Can you remind me of who I am? So have support system, someone who speaks this language, and tell them exactly what you want. So that's the 4 points that helped me a lot during my journey.
So the first one is have a vision or a goal of what you're working towards.
Yes.
But some people may not have such a clear goal. They have an idea. I want to get to this goal, but it may not be very clear. How do I motivate myself towards that? When I myself am so unclear, I'm so ambiguous with my language. I don't even know where I'm going or where I'm getting at. That's one. I love the number 2, which is know your why. Mm-hmm. And I like how you broke it down into your why for yourself. Mm-hmm. And of course, you say a lot of people like the why for others. But also in this, I was also thinking, like, sometimes there's this tough balance between wanting to do something for ourselves and then wanting to fulfill our responsibilities towards family, the people around us, or their expectations of us. So I think there's also a bit of a balance there. And so I really love your perspective on these first 2 things in your 4-step process. And 2 is, how do I balance between like my responsibility to myself, what I want, my personal why, versus if I have family, if I have children or elderly parents, how do I balance that out? And there's also a little bit referencing to our Asian background, because as Asians, family is always around us. Even if they don't live with us in the same house, they are still around us somehow. And their expectations on us will be very different when we are not or no longer in an identity or in a role that they can understand. For instance, like entrepreneurship.
I will answer the first question, which is, what if there is no clear goal, right? And I want to validate this if anyone who listening to this and in that journey of, I never come up with clear goal, smart goal, right? And when I transitioned to be solopreneur and I realized that, sometimes smart goal isn't the only answer. And our brain works differently, our lives in different journey require different support. So that's okay. That's what I want to say. If you don't have clear goal or clear vision, I'm also not a visualized person. So I don't know what I'm going to look like 10 years from now. I don't have my own vision board. What I actually have is I'm just very certain with myself that this is the part that I want to pursue, which is becoming a coach and serve people in that way. And for me, that is clear enough. And that's what I mean by at least having some destination, which I call goal and vision. And it doesn't have to be an exact step or exact picture. And even some of the person that I listen to, his name is Benjamin Hardy. He wrote the book called 10x is easier than 2x. He said sometimes if the goal is too clear and if you see the path to that goal, maybe that goal isn't good enough. Because he said when the goal is too big, you actually don't know how to get there. And that is the good goal. If you don't have a clear goal right now, then that's okay. But at least you need to know where you want to go. And sometimes it can also be just your personal goal, right? For example, I also start having the idea of being a coach by having my personal goal of I want to work location independently. And that's when it starts to opening up a possibility of being online coach. Sometimes it starts from that personal calling that you want to do and sit with it. You don't rush to decide. When we look at YouTube and we see the snapshot of 30-second, 1-minute video, there will be like, go achieve your goal, right? But it's lack of context. We also chat about this, like context as well. It's not work like that for everybody. So don't feel bad. It's okay that you don't have clear goal, but have some direction because that's what's going to pull you. You want some pull towards where you want to go. At least know what you want in your personal life, or if not, know about what you want to do in your business. That helps. And it will get clearer as you take steps and right along the journey. And that's also come to my second point, which is balancing expectation as an Asian woman. And I'm the eldest, where I grew up with expectation on financial responsibility, expectation on taking care of siblings. And because my parents are working really hard to raise 3 children at home, and that is understandable as an eldest sister who can support them in relieve some of their responsibility. And it's okay to listen to yourself. It's okay if you have take care of other people a lot before and you feel like it's time that you want to honor what is within you. And my journey is I didn't make this rough decision. I do 8-year transition. So that means during that 8 years, apart from learning the skill is to planning my finance as well. Because one of the expectation, especially in ASEAN country, is financial expectation, right? To support parents or family. And if you still have that, you also need to be realistic in approaching that. So I don't encourage everyone to just leave the job and being entrepreneur because it's not an easy job. I can do that right now because I don't have kids. I'm single right now. So it's a little easier for me to make that decision. But if you have a family, someone that really dependent on you. Be realistic about that and be creative about it as well. If you are not fulfilled with your job, be creative that maybe you can seek out a freelance job, or maybe think about what you are actually good at and start doing that while you are working full time. The same as how I transition out is I already start coaching client and getting extra income before I really feel confident to be a coach and getting out of corporate and have a finance plan out for at least 3-4 years of, if I don't have any income at all, then I have saving enough to support myself. Communicate it with people that is around you. I actually have a conversation with my mother that I'm making this decision. I might not be as comfortable financially as before, and I want your support. I think it's all about coming down to communication and letting your loved one know and have faith that people who love you would love to support your journey, and finding that balance in be realistic in your responsibility as well, whereas honor what you want to do and take time, don't rush. I think we are in the time that the more we rush, the more it is gonna be risky, and not everyone can take the high risk route. So if you are not high risk person, then it's okay to take time and don't compare your journey with anybody.
I like the part where you had a conversation with your mother. And I think that is so needed because we believe that sometimes the decision is ours. So whatever that happens after that, it is just us. But in a society where everyone has an expectation, it doesn't even have to be Asian society. Everyone has an expectation of someone. I think that is a very good way to get started on thinking about entrepreneurship, by just having that conversation with your family, with your spouse. So at least there are no surprises. Like suddenly this person just is not contributing anymore to the family income or supporting or sustaining their parents or even children. Yeah, so a great tip.
I know that because I always pretty much independent, being eldest in the family, right? So I thought I have to solve problem by myself. But when I start to be more vulnerable and talk about the situation, the transition with my mother, be open for people to help you brainstorm with solution. Like my mother, she come and talk to me like, okay, I understand where you are right now, and I want to let you know that you don't have to pay me every month anymore because I know where you are. So things like that allow people to step in to support you. I know that not every family will be the same, and sometimes we also thought that our parents would want a certain way for us, but we also lack faith in making change in the dynamics too. Communicating in the way that is compassion for both yourself and for other people.
Now I want to come to the support system. How do you find your support system? And how do you find a support system that helps you navigate the emotional challenges of being an entrepreneur in the first few years of your business?
Yeah, it sounds like an easy concept. In fact, it's gonna take time to find that support system, especially if you want your support system to support you emotionally. There are some of people that I choose to be my close support system. They have the capacity to actually listen to me, because what I want when I'm down emotionally, I want someone to listen to me. And it's my job to also tell them that I want you to listen to me. But apart from that, one side of it is, are they also capable in listening to me as well? And that's usually come from the previous interaction that I have with those people. So I noticed of few friends that have that capacity to listen. being a coach and start telling people that I'm a coach and talking about what I learned is friends and one of my support system is my sister. They've been listening to me and they said, oh, I also learned from you. And now they are also in the same mindset of supporting people emotionally. And that helps because when they know the concept, when they learn about it as well, then I can also ask the same thing from them. So find people who share your value. And the value that I'm hold dear of is being a good listener, someone who don't judge my experience, someone who believe in me when I don't believe in myself. And it's not going to be the same for everyone. So my tip here is know what you want, know your value, and know when you are in the down point. When you are going through that crisis with yourself, ask yourself who I want at this time and how can they express love to me, right? I think that the good book for this would be 5 Love Languages. And one of mine is words of affirmation. And that's why when I look for people to support me, they have to be a good listener and can encourage me when I forget about what I'm good at. And everyone will be different. So know yourself, what you want and your value and what support is like for you. Because some people, the support may be quality time, right? I don't look for quality time that much. I look for maybe just a good call. I'm already good, but some people want to meet face to face, or if your love language is physical touch, then phone call will not be enough. So you have to know what it look like for you to get supported, what it look like for you to be loved, what it look like for you to get encouraged by people you love. And that's going to help you choose the support system.
Thank you for talking about the 5 love languages, because that book was such an eye-opener actually. Sometimes how you want to be loved is how you love others.
Yeah, so true.
I still think that usually people say, oh, but I don't know my love language. It's just what you normally do to other people or for other people that helps you see, oh, so that's my love language. So it doesn't really need some complicated analysis of it. But yeah, so thank you for saying that, because I think having a support system is so important.
From emotional trauma perspective, when having support system, that person gonna help you regulate faster. So it's actually shorten the time that you will suffer through that experience.
Now that you've gone through 15 years in corporate and now you're on your own, you're a coach, has the definition of success, I'm sure it has, but I would just like to hear from you, has the definition of success changed or evolved for you?
Yeah, it changed a lot for me. When I start new business, right? Financial metrics couldn't apply. Not the same way as the corporate, because in corporate, you will have to have a certain sales number, a certain growth target. When I go out finding my first customer, if that's going to be my definition of success, then I would already quit being a coach in my first 6 months. It's changed a lot. It's not only external success anymore. What have been helping me in criteria of success is more my internal criteria, which is how much growth that I have been having. What have I learned? What have I changed? What have I done differently? So that has been my success, is I use personal growth as a criteria. And I don't mean that we have to ignore the financial metrics at all, but I think finding that balance is very important, and then your internal metrics. And now I'm at the point that I'm prioritizing my fulfillment, I'm prioritizing my time rather than achieving next number or having sleepless night. Yeah, so that's where I am. But my point here is everyone is different. That's what I want to point out. If you have big goal and you have drive to achieve or making big change, that's okay as well. But make sure you know what you are doing. Make sure your why. Make sure that this is what you want to do and go for it. And this is where I am. I also think it may be because of age, because like now I'm 44, so I'm actually on my way to 50 in the phase that reached the point of stability and look for more stability. And when I was like younger, like 30, I have like bigger drive. I want to make bigger change. I want to see bigger number. So that's what I want, but it changed over time.
So I think it's also good that at every age that we are in, we understand that our goals may differ. Our vision for ourselves may also differ. And what we wanted probably 15, 20 years ago probably is no longer relevant. It could be important for someone in their 30s, but it could also have changed internally for us. Like we probably start to question, why did we want those goals in the first place? I guess that's the inner work that we need to deal with, right? Why do we want that? Now looking back at it, it looks very different. There are so many things that I wanted when I was in my 30s. Now I think, not really. Maybe my expectations has also changed about myself and what I want to do in my life. Thank you so much, Wahn. There's so much of wisdom in today's conversation. And now the final question. If people want to work with you, where can they find you?
I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. I consistently post in English is Instagram and LinkedIn, so you can find me there if you are an English speaker. Apart from that, I do it in Thai, and which is Wahn Punnapha, WAHN PUNNAPHA. So search that, and you will find me across all channels. And I'm looking forward to connect with you all.
And of course, besides this episode itself, all the links and even more. Sometimes I tell listeners is that the article that goes with the episode has even more information about my guest. So make sure you read the article about Wahn so you can find out more about the books that she likes, things that she likes to do outside of coaching and outside of work. So thank you so much, Wahn, for this amazing interview. And I'm really glad we met and we spoke. And now we're having this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Krista, for this session. And I'm looking forward to connect with you more in other projects as well.
I enjoyed Wahn's quiet yet determined wisdom that everyone's journey is personal and growth often means powering through the discomfort and uncertainty. And through all that, it helps to show yourself some self-compassion, the same compassion you would easily offer to a friend. Now, Wahn's 4-part framework was also very useful, and I would love to recap them for you. First, have a vision or goal. Even if it isn't crystal clear, you need a destination to steer your day-to-day decisions. 2, know your why, the impact you want to have on others, plus the reason you personally need to show up with courage. 3, identify your tiny next steps, what you'll do tomorrow to move forward. And finally, number 4, build a support system, the people who listen, encourage, and hold you through tough moments. So ask yourself, who can you lean on, and what small step can you take tomorrow to move forward to your bigger goal? If you found this conversation useful and helpful, I hope you can share it with a friend who might need to learn the 4-part framework, and consider subscribing to our email list for more practical tips and behind-the-scenes updates. As always, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. This is Krista Gun, and I will see you next Friday for more conversations with women entrepreneurs across Asia.